All right, guys, welcome to another video. Today we're having an interview with a very special guest. It's Mr. Siege. This was actually done a few days ago. When I decided I was going to do a Siege March, I reached out to Mr. Siege and we did an interview, and now I'm posting it a few days later. Okay, so to quickly set this up, if you don't know who he is a newer YouTuber. I think his channel is only like 2 months old. And when I first saw his channel, it had maybe like 300 subscribers, and it's since quote unquote blown up. And he's gotten a lot more subscribers now. But about a month ago, I made a video. It was titled something like, "What if this ideal 7 March setup included a siege?" And the inspiration actually came from Mr. Siege. A few weeks before that, he had made a video showing a Bobber's Cordoba with no equipment, dueling a Gorgo Luce with no equipment, and beating it one-on-one. And that video really changed how I viewed Siege, because up until that point, it seemed like this like fringe thing where if you wanted to go Siege, you had to be a Siege main, and then also it was just a lot of investment into something that was kind of unknown, and it just didn't seem like a possibility. But after seeing that video and then started paying attention to Siege more and then how the mechanics work, I think it's actually a pretty slam dunk investment the way it is right now. Okay, the stats are very good. The mechanic, the way it's set up, where you only take counterattack damage back when you're fighting someone, it can actually be part of a murder ball and get semi close to the front lines, but not be the one that's getting swarmed, and trade very very positive, and while still offering debuffs for your allies or all the other troops on the field. And then if it does get swarmed down, I don't think it will do that much worse than any other troop that gets swarmed down. Just because if it can do so well in a duel, then at least it can hold up, right? The only downside is that you can't get away if you wanted to, but at a big murder ball where you're just pushing it anyways, a lot of time you just run into sad face. So you don't really have that issue as far as needing to get away, right? It doesn't need to get up to the front line so you won't get out of position. It's pretty slam dunk to me. So right now I invested in a full set of epic equipment. It costs 87.5 legendary mats, and I created it. It was on stream. I'll have a card here, and I'll also link the video in the description. I'll also link the video of the ideal 7 March setup. It's not so much that the ideal 7 March setup now is necessarily the 2-2-2, right? Infantry, archer, calves, and then siege. It's that if you decide to go that route, it's probably the most versatile, where you'll be able to, for the most part, either be in the meta or stay really close. I actually think once Belly Prime comes out, the ideal 7 March for the current meta will probably include 3 calves, and then you have to figure out what to do with 1 siege or 2 siege, and then infantry and archer. But I think it will actually have 3 calves. But in general, I think 2-2-2-1 for 7 Marches is probably where most people want to go if you want to stay balanced and be able to flex into different troop types that become a little OP and still stay in the meta. Okay, so personally, am I a siege lover? No. I actually just think it's really, really good. I think it's too good, like a little too broken. And I think if more people start using it, so hopefully this video and me using it will help contribute to that. I think Lilith will be forced to actually nerf it a little bit, just because the way it is now, right? You're encouraging people to bring a lot of siege on the field if it works well. And if you, let's just say, launch another round of siege commanders and people are having 3 siege marches on the field, the game will actually become like almost 40-50% siege on the field as opposed to field marches. It completely change the way that this game has been played, but also I think it will be really stupid. So I'm not a siege lover, but I think they're really good. And this interview with Mr. Siege, we're going to discuss a variety of topics. So I learned a lot from that, and I think it's interesting regardless, because we do talk a lot about the mechanics of the game, where it's going. And I think if you're interested in this stuff, watch all the way through. You'll learn a lot, but also you can kind of prepare for what I think is going to come as far as Siege becoming a lot more mainstream in Rise of Kingdoms. So again, thanks for watching and enjoy the interview. All right, we're recording. So right now I have Mr. Siege on, right? We chatted for a bit before this, kind of catch up, discuss some in private stuff. Now we're actually going to talk about almost all of it in the interview anyways. But Mr. Siege, if you guys don't know him, he's kind of blown up lately. I saw him for like a month or two. I think your channel is like 2 months old. You said,
Yes,
right?
yeah, about 2 months old now.
But
Yeah,
about a month ago, you made a video. It wasn't titled this, even though this probably would have been a more eye-catching title. It's something about like the siege meta with like duels or something. But anyways, in the video,
yeah,
you showed a Bobber's Cordoba without gear, dueling a Gorgo Luce and beating it 1-on-1.
correct.
And
But
go ahead.
just stop there. I actually, yes, I did try Baba Cordoba, but now obviously you've seen my video with Baba
Gajimada,
Garjamada.
yes.
I think this is actually a stronger 1v1 dueling pairing.
Okay.
Rather
God, it's even stronger. All the
Yeah,
siege haters just freaking had an aneurysm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah, but anyways, at the time when I saw that, I became probably 100 times more interested in siege, right? Because for me, the whole time it was just like, okay, it's just like interesting thing, like whatever that I'll probably never invest in. And once it entered my realm of consciousness that not only do you have a huge advantage of shooting at someone far away and you're only taking counterattack damage, it could actually straight up duel some of the best dueling marches and beat it. This thing goes from like a fringe niche thing to probably really, really overpowered. And within like a day or two, I think you saw that video, right? It was literally like 11:30 at night. I was like, I think I just need to make a video. So I went and recorded it, and I was like, what if the ideal 7 March setup actually had a siege in it, right? And that was about 3 weeks ago. And obviously you're paying attention probably even closer than I am, but the general sentiment on siege has changed a lot in the last month. It's changed a lot. It went from people dismissing it to like, your channel blowing up, people joining your Discord, to a lot of other content creators at least like acknowledging it's probably really good, to even like Seawill saying like he thinks he's going to use it for the next KVK. Okay, so
yeah, I mean, Seawill's actually been in a couple of my streams recently.
Oh, nice.
So
okay. So he's been studying it. He's been studying it too. I don't know what caught his attention, but the Gorga Luce one was what caught my attention. Okay, so right now I haven't done it yet, but I decided about like 3 or 4 days ago. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna invest in a siege march. Right? I was gonna wait until after the next infantry cycle, just because my account, honestly, at the time, I thought was probably like 6 months away. I want to actually get the cab, like get Belisarius, get the infantry march, and then get a little further in hand on Goldheads and move into it. But, like, I know this is going to happen at some point, so I might as well do it now. So this video, when it comes out, right, the first part is going to actually be showing me investing in the siege march. And the second part is going to kind of introduce the person that, in my opinion, actually really started this siege craze, right? There's other people like Jay Towers, a couple other guys that like, oh, he's using siege, but no one was making videos and getting these reports and all these like crazy footage out there. Okay, so let's actually go over the questions. Okay, so first, like when or what got you interested in siege? Like, were you interested in it right away, or is this something where maybe you were getting frustrated with the field marches and you decided, like, how did you actually get started?
Yeah, I actually was getting frustrated. At the time they were released, Margaret and Baba, the game seemed really, really laggy. So field fights, I'd literally just want to throw my phone at the floor.
Oh, wait, so you only play on your phone?
Yes, right. I do play on my phone. Yeah, I do not use a PC. So again, I do all my videos from my phone. I do thumbnails, the lot, all on my phone. Yeah.
Damn, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it can be a bit difficult, but we make do. Yeah. So I've always been an infantry main, and my main march for infantry has been Kuang and Scipio. This is obviously 12 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Margaret and Baba came out, and I was fed up with fighting, getting bad trade, because obviously I was getting laggy, I was getting swarmed. Like Guan and Scipio weren't really doing it for me as well, and this is way before Liu Chen and Gorgo. So yeah, I just had a bit of a punt. I thought, well, it sounds good, firing at range, might trade quite well. And I think I got them to 5-5-1-1 as soon as I could. I mean, I didn't have many gold heads at the time, from what I can remember. I mean, it's quite a while afterwards.
Okay,
actually,
but it wasn't right when Margaret and Bobbers were released. Because I think if I look at my Margaret, it was like April of 23 or March of 23, so about a year ago.
Yeah.
So you actually waited for a bit.
No, I think because I had to get Margaret from the event, so I must have got it from that. I didn't spend on it though.
Right, well, right, but I'm saying, like, did you convert to Siege almost like right away, or did you let it percolate for a while and then you decided to move in on it?
I think so, yeah, because I tried it out with, obviously I had no Siege units, I had obviously no Siege gear, but I initially tried it with infantry troops and my legendary infantry gear, and it was showing a lot of success then. And that's when I sort of started making the move and saying, you know, I'm gonna expertise these commanders. I'm gonna work on getting some T5 Siege, work on a bit of gear, and I think I only expertised Margaret in like July of that year, and then Baba was a lot later, like September maybe. So I've not even had them expertise that long, really. But yeah, I was getting great trades again with infantry troops and infantry gear. Okay,
so you tried it pretty quick with infantry stuff just to see if there's anything to it. Showed some promise. You decided to move in on it. Okay. Oh my god, it's almost kind of like what I'm doing. I'm like, I already know it's gonna be good, but I'm doing like 5-5-1-1 for both and running T4. Part of it just it's just because I that's as much as I could commit right now. But okay, cool. And then what's your current setup for Siege?
What's my current setup? So I'm currently using Margaret Cordoba because obviously it seems to me the best march in terms of a high damage output. So you're basically doing a lot more damage for less time on the field. Okay. And then I'm using Baba and Gauge Armada as a second march, and that's more of like a tanky march. So I might even position that tower sort of in front of Margaret Cordoba just to sort of protect it a little bit. And to be honest, it gets great trades as well. Okay. If you're going to go for one march, I'd probably go for Margaret Cordoba, but you could also go Cordoba Garja. But yeah, I've got one set of really decent equipment, a full set of legendary equipment, and one, I'd say, good set. So mainly made up of the epic equipment and a couple of legendaries, with no legendary accessories on the second set, but they still trade amazingly well. Okay. Armament wise as well, really decent armaments, to be honest. That's all pretty much been opening recently.
Okay, are you running T5, T4 mix?
T5, generally just T5. If I get a bit low, I'll run the Baba and Garja with a bit of T4, and to be honest, you hardly notice the difference. The T4 in that march are doing
because for field marches, the way it works, the biggest difference between T5 and T4 is actually the tankiness. The damage output is like maybe 10% less, but it's actually not very noticeable. But if you run T4 compared to T5, what you'll notice is it's a lot squishier. It's like maybe like 30% squishier. So I don't know if that's even noticeable for Siege. I'm a noob with Siege. You know, you have to tell me. Okay.
I mean, it's hard to know because since I've had the engineering commanders, I've only really ran T5 with them, except on my second account, which I'm running T4 with them now. Right. But I've only got Margaret at 5-4-1-1 and Cordoba at 5-3-1-1.
Wait, you have a second account running Siege?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
oh, wow.
Of course.
Okay.
Okay.
There's just not enough Siege marches out there right now.
Well, there isn't, and I wanted to give it a go in my recent KVK in the Altar. So I mean, I even did Bastions on my farm and all sorts, and even at 5-4-1-1 and 5-3-1-1, I was getting even trades at Altar.
You said 5-3-1-1 and 5-4-1-1 on a farm.
Yeah. Yes.
You were getting even trades in Altar. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. All right.
against T5
And I kind of,
armor.
this is actually an oversight on my part. Probably should have set it up better where we could like show your equipment and your armament. So about like, because I think you posted something. You have a legendary inscription for one set of armament, right?
Oh, I've actually got two.
Okay. I got two. Okay.
Yeah.
And then about how much total stats do you have on that? I think you have like what, like four inscriptions. One's legendary. And then what's your total stat on your armaments?
I think it's about 24%, something like that. 24-25% stats.
Okay. Well, actually, I have
to... about 9% health, 9% defense,
okay,
and the rest.
And we'll actually get into this a little later on, because I think you did mention in some of your videos that attack is like more valued for siege than like health. So we'll talk about that. Well, I guess we can talk about. No, we'll talk about it later. It's fine. And then
talk about it later.
Okay, and then so you have two sets of equipment. One set is mostly epic with like one or two legendary, like two, one.
Yeah, it's more of a set I'm working on right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you have two legendary or one right now? Or your
two
second
legendary,
set?
On my second set, I have two legendary pieces, I believe.
Okay, and then the first set is full legendary. I think I saw a couple of crits too, like 2 crits or something.
Yeah, there's 2 crits.
Okay.
I think the helmet and the chest piece, and then obviously I've still got the epic weapon, which is also crit.
Yeah, and then you have that.
Yeah.
And then you have that accessory, but I think I saw that you said it's not as good as a ring.
No, I believe the Ring of Doom is actually better than the Immolating Plume.
Okay.
Well, and that's at this point in time.
Okay.
So I believe if they bring out 2 new commanders in the future, which I believe they will do, but who knows with Lilith.
Yeah, who knows, right?
If they stick to the active skill just being a high damage output and having no other small little damage factors in the extra skills, the Immolating Plume will be much, much better.
Okay.
Because obviously the Immolating Plume works on a chance on any sort of direct damage factor.
Yeah.
Either smite damage or skill damage. But obviously some of the siege marches have very, very low amounts of those, like maybe 200 or 600.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. So you need something like maybe like a double Cordoba or something. So when it's boosting it just okay.
Yeah, but even Cordoba has a 200 extra smite damage factor. So if the Immolating Plume does a boost of damage on that, then you're not really getting a lot of benefit.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, the ring I believe is better at the moment, and I've heard that from other siege players.
Okay. How many?
Who have done the maths on it? You know what I mean?
I guess it's like
it's something. You should look at that. There's something you'd be interested in actually doing the math on, which would work better.
I don't know how I turned into the math guy. I'm not. In real life, I'm not a math guy.
Oh, you're not?
I'm really not. I own a gym.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If anything, people usually call me like the workout guy that's into that stuff. But somehow in this game, that's what I've turned into, the math guy that does armaments. So yeah.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Okay, so I actually lost my train of thought. So there was another question that just came up, but what about like future plans? So I know, right, you can only run 2 marches, right? So is it more like, do you plan on running field marches at all anymore? Or was it just stick with the 2 and then get your 2 to a really good place and set up for the 3rd one if it comes out, or?
Yeah, I'm going to be sort of setting up for a 3rd one when it comes out. I'm going to save some gold heads. It took me a while to get Guardian Marden max. Obviously, I'm a very low spender.
Yeah.
So gold heads are quite hard to come by.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got to fit up to all your events, and you're not buying bundles and stuff like that. But yeah, I do plan on obviously getting the other Siege March if one comes out. Unless they just don't seem that great, and then maybe I'll look at investing in one of the new infantry commanders, maybe.
Okay.
But unlikely. I mean, but my field marches are just don't cut it compared to siege. I can't get good trade.
Once you get a taste of the siege, you can't go back.
I mean, it seems pointless.
Yeah.
Sending out marches to get negative trades.
Yeah. No, it's true. I think I saw you dismantle a legendary. Right? What did you actually dismantle? Like
I actually ended up dismantling like 3 legendary pieces on my infantry
okay,
march. Yeah.
okay. Wow.
To
Okay.
craft the immolating plume, which
There
is
you go.
actually isn't
That's good. So for the best 2 accessories, you will recommend horn and ringstone for even for siege.
Yeah, yeah. The horn would be great because obviously you're going to get that active skill off more often. Yeah,
Okay.
I would say so. Although I do like the dagger as well because the dagger reduces
it debuffs. Yeah.
the health. The debuffs
Yeah.
are so good at range because you're just providing debuffs on the front line all the time.
I actually wonder if the okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, because obviously then you're providing your allies with debuffs on the frontline troops, and you're just benefiting everyone. Plus, obviously, the longevity of your siege marches are probably a lot longer than frontline troops, so they're constantly providing the debuffs.
What about the Morrow's Web? You could just like start slowing every cav commander down on the field. Does that actually trigger?
It would do, yeah. It would trigger. Okay. But I mean, Siege already do have march speed.
Reductions already, yeah. Oh damn! I'm a Siege noob. Okay.
So yeah, sometimes if someone comes towards you and they actually get to you, realize they're not going to win.
Yeah.
And try and escape, they're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah. So they're already taking so many hits by the time they get to you. So honestly, like all your duels, you guys are in melee range and then you start fighting, right?
Yes.
So if you're actually out of range and you start getting some shots beforehand, even a lot of these where it's close, where you're losing, you probably end up winning.
If I got the active skill off first, which I don't, when it's right next to each other, they're basically done for.
Okay, so when they're actually marching in, this is actually kind of skipping ahead. I think we talked about this. They don't actually gain rage until they enter combat. So when they're taking hits, you're doing damage to them, you're taking counterattack back, you're gaining rage, but they don't actually gain anything until they're within melee range and they connect to you.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say they don't gain anything, but if they do, it's not noticeable.
Okay. So they might, or you're not sure. I've never seen it.
Well, I've not seen them gain any rage from what I see.
Okay.
When they get to me, they've got nothing.
Then the rage bar starts going.
Yeah, but see, I did do a test against a rally, and the rally started to gain a slight bit of rage.
Oh, it was just marching, and you're shooting it.
Yeah, because I did a towers versus a rally test.
Okay.
Maybe one you've not seen, and because the reason I was looking at that is some guy said you're actually doing a negative impact attacking a rally with your towers because
you're helping it generate more rage. That's no.
Yes, but it was so minimal.
Yeah,
it made no difference.
Yeah. Okay. And then is there any possibility to, let's just say there's 4 range commanders, they can only pair with other range commanders, so like can you somehow split it into 4 different marches with the engineering primary and something else secondary? Have you ever like thought about that?
You can do, and I've done lots of tests before I was actually content creating.
Okay.
And they're just no good.
Okay.
So if anyone's thinking about running a range commander with a non-engineer commander,
it just doesn't work.
Secondary, it's not worth it. Just get another engineering commander at 1-1-1-1. You'd be better off.
Wow. Okay. So right now, the most you could run is 2, like realistically, for it to be effective.
To be effective, really, yeah. I mean, because you can't even get them before KVK 3, I don't think.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, if you get them in KVK 1, then I guess you could have ran one with a Matilda or something like that. But
yeah. Okay.
At this point, it's not effective at all.
Okay, so let's talk really quick about your KVK performance.
Okay.
So you've had how many KVKs running Siege?
I think I've had 3, but only 2 when I've actually had max commanders. So I think I had 1 KVK where they were sort of like 5-5-1-1, which is when I was doing a bit of testing and running infantry with them.
Oh wait, that's what I'm gonna do. You're telling me it's not good? Okay.
It was good,
but with Siege it'll work better.
Siege works Yeah,
Okay.
I did a test. I did a test
Okay.
where
Okay.
I ran infantry legendary full infantry legendary gear
Hmm.
with my siege marches, but using infantry troops.
Yeah.
And then one with epic siege gear with siege, and the epic siege gear was better.
Okay. I mean
But
the
I mean the
yeah.
infantry gear was still good. You still trade positive, but yeah,
Yeah, it's kind
it
of
was
crazy
better.
because just like looking at the stats on the epic gear, it's just higher than the epic stats, the stats on like the infantry epic gear, right? Like the siege stats, they just get a lot more.
That's the same for the legendary gear.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
some of the legendary gear that's 14.5% stats, whereas the
yeah,
normal legendary gear on like infantry cav and stuff is 11%.
yeah. I mean, Lilith really wants to push this. Okay, so
I mean,
yeah,
it's almost as if they were crit already.
yeah, yeah. It's not even crit yet. Yeah, and if you
Yeah,
crit it, it's actually because you're already starting at a higher base, so you
yeah.
some of these you might actually even get a bigger boost. I have to do the math on it. Uh, okay, so this last KVK, you didn't even have a Kinslam fight. How did you actually do? You had 2 marches?
Yeah, so generally 2 marches. Sometimes I'd have to go down to 1 if I had no more health left. Obviously, I was fighting a lot.
Right.
But yes, I got 38 million kills in total. And like I say, I was just running 2 marches really. I did try a bit of Kuang and Scipio, and I got sort of fed up after sending them out twice. So
Yeah.
that was about it for them. But yeah, in terms of my kingdom ranking as well, I was 7th in the kingdom for kill points. My best KVK ever by far. I mean, previous to that, I'd only got 18 and 19 million kills properly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then
And to be fair, that was with 1 march. I was using just
okay.
Margaret and Babu, got 18 million kills.
Okay, so you doubled it and you got more than twice what you got before? What you said,
Yeah,
40?
slightly more than twice. I got
Okay.
38 million, and
Okay.
I've got really 18 million properly before.
Okay. And then how? I guess this is kind of a weird question. I don't know, and it's hard to quantify. What I'm trying to ask is, if you're running 2 regular marches, right? How resource and speed intensive is Siege compared to, let's just say you're running 2 infantry marches?
I mean, nowhere near as bad, which is hence the reason I'm generally using them as well. I am just using them as main marches. That's all I'm using, is because like the trades are ridiculous, and you're not having to heal as many troops, and obviously, you're not having to use your speed ups as much. Plus, I'm using France as a civilization, which does help with hospital heals, which does seem the best for Siege at the moment as well.
Okay, so France is the best for Siege?
I would say so, yeah.
How come? Just because at least the hospital healing's relevant, or is there something else?
Yeah, hospital healing, you get 3% health.
It's general health. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could troop health. You could take. I think is it China that has a 3% attack. I can't remember which civilization it is, but then the other buffs weren't that great. So I definitely take the healing buff.
Okay.
Especially as a very very low spender. You know, you don't, and in a CC kingdom, you don't have that amount of speed ups really.
Okay, so I was gonna ask this later, but we'll just ask now. So obviously, health, defense, attack is how most players would prioritize. Is it different for Siege?
I would actually put it in the opposite order for Siege. Yeah.
Really? Even defense more than health?
Yeah, defense seemed to actually cause. Well, I mean, I did a test,
right? And
attack just clearly did more damage,
right?
But also defense seemed to do more damage.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure why. It's just from doing some silly little tests that I like to do.
Okay.
And health actually just reduced the amount that you'd basically end up in your hospital.
Okay.
And to be honest, I'm not too bothered about the troops in the hospital because you're trading really well anyway.
Right.
I just want to do as much damage over a shorter period as possible. So I prefer the attack stats.
Yeah, actually,
increasing your counter attack and
it's
stuff
kind of
like
interesting because I don't know if you know Peacemaker in 2268.
that.
Right?
No, I don't.
I think he's the second highest KP in the game right now, like 61 bill. But
Okay, yeah.
his armament priority, he doesn't value any armaments that give defensive or survival capabilities. Everything he wants is just to stack more damage, right? And at first I'm like,
Huh?
why? Like it doesn't make sense, right? Because the way that works, right? But when you have essentially unlimited resources, right? Like
Yeah,
speeds and resources, you just fill the hospital fast, you get out. Because what he's doing is he wants to pump out as much KP as possible, right? As much damage output as
yeah,
possible, and he doesn't care if he doesn't trade efficient. Like it's
yeah,
almost like when you're talking about attacks more important. It's not that you have unlimited resources, but when you're so much more resource efficient, and it's almost like that's what you're talking about too. Is you just want to get as much
correct.
damage on the field, and even if you ended up getting like swarmed down, like you already did so much output, like that's actually more worth it, which is not what most
Yeah,
field troops
yeah.
would go for.
No,
Okay.
no,
Yeah.
because most field troops would want higher health because you're going to want to
Right.
last long on the field whilst doing damage.
Okay.
But obviously, your ranged marches generally last ages anyway, or at least they should do.
Okay. But is there like any value to health for you, or is it like it's almost like how people relate to attack? Like it's something where like you almost because like for me, right? It's like when we talk about attack, it's almost like, oh, that's a throwaway. You already have more than enough of it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm just happy with the highest stats as possible.
Right.
So I'll just take highest stats as they come, sort of thing.
Okay.
But if there's a chance to get higher attack stats,
That's
then
what you would.
I'd take that
Okay.
over anything else.
And I don't know if you know, so you got 38 million kills with 2 marches. About how much of
Yes.
each resource did you use? Do you know?
I actually don't know. I mean, yeah, I didn't really keep track of how much I've
Okay.
used. I don't know how many troops have actually healed yet.
Okay.
I mean, I did hit a lot of rallies. You probably trade even trades with 18 rallies.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not even sure how many troops I had to heal just yet. Obviously, I have to wait until the end of KVK properly to know that.
Do you know like a?
I mean, I've used a lot of resources, but I gave a lot away to allies. You see.
Yeah.
I think I gave about 2 billion resources away, but obviously that's because I'm using seed. I didn't have to use as much resources, so I can actually help I can provide to my allies as well.
Okay. Do you know like at least like kind of like a range? Because it sounds like it's definitely under like 3 bill that you use of each.
I don't think under 3 bill of each. Yeah, because I think I started the KVK with about 19 billion.
Okay.
And we'll see. I've probably got about 8 or 9 left, and I gave away 2.
Okay, so you use like 7-ish total?
Probably, yeah.
Wait, what does Siege even use? Do they use? I don't know what resource.
It uses it. It uses everything.
Oh,
but
like equally?
because quite equally, yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. Obviously, it uses stone,
Okay.
and it actually takes less stone.
Okay.
Because it takes stone, it actually is a bit cheaper than infantry, healing infantry.
So if I'm starting to get really, really drained, right, where I'm like pretty much out of everything, just kill all my other troops and just start going siege and still help out that way.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. All right, and then final, you are pretty much known as the siege guy, right? I think you are, right? I mean, there's other players that use siege before you, but they're not the siege guy. You're the siege guy. What are some? What is that experience like? What people you get haters? Do people ask you a lot of questions? A mix, interesting stories.
Yeah. I mean, when I first became a content creator, I thought I was going to get a lot of haters.
Okay.
But to be honest, they're few and far between. There might be the odd person.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you get the odd person that says, "Oh yeah, we see the trash." They use this. You just swarm them down easily.
Yeah.
But not as many as you think. Like I've had so many positive comments and stuff. But yeah, I'm far from the best siege player in the game. I mean, I know loads of people that are way better than me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm as far as I'm aware, I'm the only English speaking Siege content creator.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case too.
Yeah, I mean, I know
Yeah.
there's there's a Japanese guy,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously we don't really get those
Oh,
come up on our YouTube.
yeah. We get those
Um,
filtered out.
yeah, but I mean, this is the reason I became a content creator. So I was forever flicking through YouTube looking for content on siege and engineering marches, and there was nothing there. And I didn't do it. I had not done this to say, I might find a bit of a gap in the market and make a bit of money from this. I actually just wanted to spread the word about siege because I loved it so much, and I was thinking, literally, so many people are missing out on the opportunity to run a siege march.
Yeah, I mean, you got me.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect for free to play as well.
Yeah,
and then I'm watching videos like Omniarch, and he's saying, "Well, you have to be a whale to run a siege march," and I'm like, "Whoa, what are you saying to people?"
Yeah.
Like, you can run 5511 Epic Gear T4. You're trading even already.
Yeah. Okay, that's actually what I'm doing.
Investment.
Okay. Yeah, it is very cheap actually, because the math, it comes out to about, like, depending on what you're crafting, like, but it's about 90 legendary sculptures to craft a full epic siege set. And then you're doing 5511, right? That's like what, 360? 360, 380? Is it 190 or 180? I can't remember. And that's it. And the epic you could actually dismantle.
Yeah, exactly. It's
right. So
cost you nothing, really.
So it's like 380 or 390 gold heads to try it out, and I guess a decent amount of gold. But I mean, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, like, you at least have a base there for, at some point if you want to use this. Okay.
Definitely.
Let's talk about some strengths and weaknesses. So let's start with, what do you think are weaknesses of Siege right now? Like, whether from the controls to like the auto targeting. We'll talk about the auto targeting. You mentioned something I didn't know off stream. Yeah.
Yes, I did, didn't I? Yeah. I mean, in terms of weaknesses, obviously you have to be in a tower to be effective.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I mean, I've swarmed cities without being a tower.
Okay, so
I've swarmed flags without being a tower.
What happens when it's not in a tower?
You don't get the ranged bonuses that obviously in a lot of the skills.
Okay, can you even fire an active skill, or is it just white damage?
Yes, you can fire an active skill.
Oh, wow!
It's kind of a surprise.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. I mean, I do barbs with them, and I don't do it in tower mode.
Okay.
But yeah, you fire the active skill, which is strange because obviously it says range smite damage.
Right.
But then all the other range skills don't activate, so it's a bit of a strange one.
Okay.
But you can actually swarm things with them, no problem. But against like 1v1 on the field, like you don't want to be attacking a Huonevsky without being a tower. You're gonna get hurt.
But the power difference is very noticeable. Like, if you're not in tower mode, you're gonna get destroyed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I can beat a Nevsky Joan and get like 25k to 30k sevs, but if I'm not in tower mode, then I'd take 30 odd severes to their 10 maybe.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, like a decent difference.
Okay. Any other like weaknesses? Like, expose your weakness. Let us know how to take you down in the field.
No. I'm happy to expose weaknesses. But there's not many, and it's only small things. I mean, at the end of the day, like that one, you're going to set up a tower. That's what they're supposed to be there for.
Right.
Setting your tower in a good spot can be a little bit annoying at times. So sometimes if someone's in the way or something's in the way, then you can't set it up in an overcrowded area. That can be difficult, but it's a rarity. I mean, I was trying to set up one right in the front of a pass when there was a big fight right in front of the pass as well.
Okay.
And it took me a while to get set up, but
can it?
It's like it's minimal.
Can it shoot over a pass?
No, it
Oh, okay,
can't.
that would,
I get
that would be
asked a
so
lot.
broken if it could just shoot over a path and start hitting
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Okay, that's probably a good
Trust
thing.
me,
Yeah,
it's one of the first things I tried. I'm like, oh my
yeah.
god, this thing is broken.
They
But
do it.
yeah,
It just start like sniping people out. Like they can't even get close to the pass anymore.
that's it.
What about like when you say strategically setting up? What are you looking for like what are like best locations
Well,
or like what's the
yeah,
best setup?
this is it. So another weakness I was going to discuss is basically having to be smart. And basically, you want to be setting up in places where you can get away if you need to. So set up maybe near a node or a city or
Yeah,
potentially a flag.
yeah.
And as soon as you want to get out of the tower, drag your march into a city or a node, especially with Margaret, because
Okay.
her node hopping is great because obviously she gains a bit of march speed with her
Okay.
talent in the support tree. So yeah, you just need to be a bit smart where you position it. If you're way out in the open field,
Right.
you might struggle. So try not to
Okay.
be too far from a node or something.
Okay, but it's still 10 seconds to dismantle, and then you could go into a city
Yeah.
or a node or something.
I think it's actually 8 seconds to dismantle. I think it's 7 seconds to put up and 8 seconds to dismantle. They did
wow.
lower it a while
They
ago.
lowered it?
Yeah.
Oh my god, okay.
They lowered it.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay. And then I think strengths will I think we'll actually skip it. I think it's pretty well go ahead. Actually let's talk about strengths because I think we're pretty much talking about strengths for the whole video, but is there any like just big ones that you want to highlight?
I mean, the big one is you get fantastic trades. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been getting 10-to-1 trades
Yeah.
quite often, really.
Right.
Margaret is so fast with Cordova with a talent tree
Mm-hmm.
and the extra march speed and the legendary gear. I mean, the legendary and the epic gear provide march speed, and honestly, they're just about as fast as cavalry
Right.
when you've got everything set up. They're a lot safer because you're not in the middle of a ball.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting lag problems. Basically, if my phone crashes, I'm still firing.
Right.
I'm still fighting,
Mm-hmm.
gaining kill points if I'm not even on the game, as long as you've got War Frenzy.
Okay.
Obviously, that's the auto targeting thing. So obviously, we'll go through the auto targeting now. I know we spoke about it quickly before before this, but obviously, towers do auto target enemies, but this only works if your allies are already in contact with an enemy troop, so they're already fighting, and obviously in your range.
Mm.
So if an enemy walks into range and they're not being hit by an ally, you will need to manually target them.
Okay.
So that's how that works. But yeah, like we said before, they've got really, really strong equipment, like higher stats than any other equipment.
Okay.
Great debuffs, great against rallies. Obviously, I've got basically 3 debuffs from 2 marches with my dagger. Guards Armada's got a 20% defense debuff.
Mm.
Margaret's 40% defense debuff.
Yeah, that's like about on par with Nevsky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And you're doing it from range. You
Yeah,
got
yeah.
the longevity there. It's doing it all the time. And again, they are long lasting. Like you last a long time on the front line.
Right. Okay. Actually, this thought just come up. So I played around with it for a little bit, and when I try to attack something, it automatically just set up in tower mode, right? How do you actually attack someone without it going in tower mode? Like, how does it know when to do that and
You
when
have
not
to
to?
you have to get close enough.
Okay. So if you get close enough, then
So-
attack them, then it won't set up.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. That's what can be an issue sometimes. So if you're too close to someone and you've targeted them,
Okay.
then you don't automatically set up your tower.
Okay. So then you'll have to manually like click it, then set it up, and then attack after it's set up. If you're too close.
Correct.
Okay.
But if you're in a ball or you're walking up towards a ball situation,
Yeah.
attack a target further away.
Yeah.
So attack someone towards the back of the ball.
Okay.
It'll set up and then it'll just start auto firing
Okay.
basically.
All right. I think I'm gonna actually have to follow up you once I start playing with it. See
Yeah.
to see like the questions I have from controlling it, because like theoretically, especially for like an organized murder ball situation, I think it's pretty straightforward, right? You just, as the ball goes in, you attack. It'll set up in the back of the ball. It'll just fire away because there's more than enough allies attacking everyone.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be firing for plenty of time.
Okay, and then
But yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. I was gonna say, like, obviously, you can always get in touch with me if you need any advice or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure.
No problem.
Okay. So I think I kind of asked this already, right? It's like whether you're just gonna stay with pure siege, or like do siege and field marches, or like what do you think if you could wave a magic wand, you had unlimited resources? Well, no. I don't think that's a fair question. You would just run 7 marches into siege. Okay, but like, what do you think are the if you can, do you think you should mix, or is there like some advantage just going to siege? Like, it's just to conserve resources. Like, what do you? I think we maybe already like talked about some different aspects of this, but anything more to add to that?
I think in terms of a free to play or a very low spender, I don't think it's a bad idea just sticking with siege marches.
Okay.
Because you're limited on resources. Obviously, I know you're saying if that wasn't the case. If that was the case, then I would say that. But if you've got no limit on your resources, your gold heads, your materials, then I definitely think it is worth having field marches, basically. You'd want probably at least 3 field marches if you can get 1 cav, 1 inf, 1 archer, and then maybe just have the rest siege in the background potentially.
Yeah. Now your experience, and your experiences on the phone, like, what are your thoughts on controlling field marches and siege? It's obviously going to be more difficult on the phone, and
it is more difficult on the phone. I mean, it's always been difficult for me controlling field marches. Mainly because of the lag.
Oh, like, trust me, you
drag a march over. The next minute, it's on the back end of their murder ball, and you're just getting swarmed.
Yeah, trust me. Like I when I'm mentoring people, one of the first questions I always ask them is, "Are you playing on the PC?" If they're not, like that's like the first recommendation I give, because the difference between me trying to play on a phone, like with field marches, versus on a PC, it's like no contest. It's not even like you'll do pretty well. It's like maybe magnitudes different. Where like I'm pretty sure I'll always trade negative playing on the phone, right? Just because I can't even see what's going on. Like my march is out of position. I can't even tell what's happening. Like maybe for 1 march I could do it, but I'm trying to run 6 marches. There's no way. So
no, I struggled, and to be honest, I was happy getting even trades. Which isn't amazing.
Okay, all right. Now let's talk about some of the haters. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
So the first one I see from some of the haters is that siege is selfish. It's a selfish play. You're essentially using someone else as a meat shield for you to get free KP.
Yeah. I've heard this a lot. I mean, there's even a guy in my kingdom that says this as well.
Oh, really? Kingdom mate?
Yeah.
Friendly fire? Damn, okay.
Believe it or not. I mean, I did get more kills in this KVK as well. But I don't want to talk about that. That might just upset him even more. So that it's a ridiculous comment, in my opinion.
Okay.
And from what I've said before is basically when you auto-target, when your towers auto-target, you're auto-targeting on a troop that is already being hit by an ally, and you're debuffing that troop for them. 40% defense, 20% defense, up to 15% health if you've got a dagger. You could have a Moira's Web, like you mentioned before.
Right.
Debuffing the march speed, and your frontline troops, the field marches, are benefiting from that.
Right.
So they're gonna get better kill points from it.
Right.
So to say it's selfish,
right,
is a little bit harsh, in my opinion.
I mean, to be fair, right? Let's just say you were a free-to-play player on the field. You're not going to whale tank in the front, right? You're going to let the whales tank in the front. because
Yeah,
that's where like they can actually handle that and do more.
yeah.
So
I mean,
anyway, sorry for jumping in.
no, it's fine. I mean, how can it be bad to be getting tons and tons of kill points and putting loads of enemies, troops in the hospitals?
Yeah.
It can't be a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, I guess they're concerned too. It's a little selfish too, right? Because they want to be the ones that are getting the kill KP because they're also tanking. So maybe it's more like who's getting the KP. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
but
they're
I
like,
think,
well, I'm putting more troops in the hospital. I deserve to also get more KP. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I get plenty of troops in the hospital too. I
Yeah.
mean, but again, if I don't get that many troops in the hospital and I've got spare resources,
Yeah.
I can then provide resources to my allies.
Yeah. Okay. So it also depends on like the player, whether the player is actually playing in a way that benefits the kingdom. Like if you have extra resources because you're not resource intensive, and you could help out, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about helping the kingdom. So I actually gave away 2 billion resources as KVK because I knew I wouldn't need them.
Right.
There was top fighters in the kingdom that needed resources.
Right.
I'm going to supply them with resources.
Right. When you're a low spend, you could do that. I mean, it's just very efficient. The siege is very efficient.
I mean,
okay.
Again, I'm a low spender. I don't have to buy resources. If I need to, I can give it away. If I've got enough, I mean, I might even have enough potentially for next KVK, but
right.
You know, and when next KVK comes, if someone needs resources, I'll help provide it if I feel I can.
Right. Okay. How about this next one? I didn't have it on here. The next one is essentially, I think they just haven't watched the videos, but the whole idea is like a siege. You need someone to tank for you in front. So it's kind of almost like a leeching march, because if you don't have other people tank for you, everyone does siege, then you would be useless.
In a way, sometimes. I mean, you may have seen my one-on-one duels.
Yes.
Baba and Jackgingereida can take on pretty much anyone 1v1.
Yes.
The trouble is, a lot of people are running around with 5 or 6 marches. Then it becomes a bit of a problem.
Right.
But if I can pop out a couple of cities further back and get a couple of hits in, the counter-attack damage is actually better. It's almost like cheeseburgering.
Right.
You know, you can still do that, but as long as you've got some form of field,
right,
even if it's like a couple of guys that have got 4 or 5 marches, you can generally get a couple of active skills on.
Right. But if you have no field, you're gonna get destroyed anyways. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's all field marches or field and some siege.
No, I tend to like drag them into between your cities a little bit, so tempt them in, and then you find a couple of other people in your allies will pop out and help you out anyway. So it's I quite like teasing people like that. It's pretty funny. Yeah,
this is actually just based on the conversation we had a little bit before, and also watching your videos. What's to stop you from having a Baba or Gajamada either more in the front or kind of in the middle, and then you have something like Margaret Cordoba in the back, right? So they're not going to walk by your Baba or Gajamada, and that thing is so tanky, right? Like 70% health, is that what it is? And like other defensive stats, and like when the videos, what you showed was even all these other marches, they get their skill cycle off first, sometimes 2 times, and you're falling way behind. But because you're so tanky, you eventually catch up and overtake them, right? Like it almost seems like the thing could tank for itself.
It can tank for itself, like you've seen it, and I use that as a bit of a tank if I need to.
Okay.
I'm happy for Baba and Gajamada to get swarmed.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, when they get swarmed, they still trade fairly well.
Yeah. And then everyone else is actually doing a lot of, like, if you can actually get essentially just like a rock out there that's just tanking a bunch of damage, and then other people are doing damage to them and getting free hits on them, that's actually another way to play it. It seems like.
Yeah, everyone's still benefiting. I'm benefiting behind with my Margaret and Cordoba because they're popping off.
Yeah. So this is a little bit off topic, but how does Margaret Cordoba do in duels, like in a close range, right? Because they have way less defensive capabilities. Like, are they way worse, or how do they do?
They're a little bit squishy in comparison to Baba and Gaja. Margaret and Baba were a decent dueling pair,
right?
So I'm not sure it's Cordoba that makes them a little bit squishy, but obviously his AOE shines through generally. But yeah, they're just not
Okay.
not up to the standard of Baba and Garja. They're more
Okay.
like single target
Okay.
tankiness.
But if you were dueling someone with Margaret Cordoba, about which pair do you think it's about like equivalent to? Like, it's sort of like if this is the pair where it's like 50-50, is there one that's like that? Maybe like Juan
I mean,
Scipio, Nev Joan, you know,
yeah,
or
I mean, Nevsky Jones are a ridiculously strong 1v1, and so are Hugo Nevsky. But I mean, even Margaret Cordoba, I'd still take on any infantry march, and
really?
you know, I should be about on par with any infantry march still.
Okay, but it will probably lose to Gorgo Luce.
Potentially, maybe someone I need to test out without the gear on.
Oh, maybe you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're pretty confident that Margaret Cordoba would beat a Luce Alex. What it sounds like.
I'd have thought so. Yeah. I
Okay.
would have thought so.
Okay. I think we already talked about transitioning, so it sounds like Epic Gear and then T4, maybe 5511 for both is a good starting place.
Yeah, fairly easy, fairly cheap way to go, really.
Okay. So you voiced this before, so here's your chance at vindication, right? If you were going to rank the top 5 marches, Siege and Field, how would you rank it?
Siege and Field. Okay. So, in terms of Siege, Margaret Cordoba would obviously be my rank 1, and that's for maximum damage, a short period of time. Second, it's obviously going to be Cordoba again in the march, because obviously the AoE is just broken. But it'll be Cordoba, Garge, Armada, because I mean they were supposed to be a pair, made together, really, weren't they?
Okay.
Obviously, the way Margaret and Cordoba work is because of her active skill is the 50% normal.
Yeah, I was looking at it. It's pretty broken. Like you boost.
Yeah.
You give a 50% all damage boost essentially.
Yeah.
For what, 5 seconds? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So third, I'd rank Baba and Cordoba, because I mean Baba and Cordoba would still do a fantastic job. I mean, you could pretty much pair them all all together.
Okay, but
obviously,
what about? Are you putting all 3 of those over any other field march? Like I'm talking about like let's just say Scipio Luce is recognized as the best field march. Where would you rank that? Is it still number 1? Would you put a Siege number 1? What would be your top 5?
I mean,
it's just a combination of like there's just like 5 Siege marches you give me, and like number 6 would be Scipio Luce. Like how would you rank Siege and Field together?
I mean, my top 3 probably would be Siege marches. I mean, there would be Scipio Luce. And at range they're going to absolutely destroy them. Okay. But Gorgo Luce, I think, is actually stronger than Scipio Luce.
In a duel, I agree. Yes.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I watched someone's video the other day, and he was trialing both in an altar fight, and he was getting better trades with Gorgo Luce. I suppose it depends on the person.
Right. Okay. So
you probably put them at like 3rd.
Okay, so
in terms of on the field, I mean, Hugo Nevsky's got to be up there as well.
Okay.
Because it's just so strong. Right. I know it's only like a 1v1 march, but yeah, it's ridiculously strong, and it can get some amazing trades, to be honest. And to be honest, if Hugo Nevsky comes towards me on the field, that is the sort of march I'm worried about.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because I mentioned that I think when I did the whole video, I said especially in an altar, I think that's probably the one you want to go with because the way Hua set up, you actually want to get the kill. People are scared to trigger the expertise of Hua because it resets a rage. The reason why I'm not for Hua and Joan is because, one, Joan has an AoE, right? So there's actually a higher likelihood that she gets a kill. So if she gets a kill, you're actually resetting the rage bar at a not good time, right? Because it's already like half full. If her second proc goes off, and then you get the kill on her second proc, literally it should kill someone right when your rage bar is about full. So you actually have an almost full rage bar that you lose. right? So all these people that are like, oh well,
Right.
Hua does more damage. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like all the people like, oh, Hua Jones going to do more damage than Nevsky Jones. That's true if Jones' second skill proc doesn't have like a decent likelihood. Because if you think about it, right, either Hua's going to kill someone, or Jones' first proc or second proc is going to kill someone, right? And out of those three options, you literally 2/3 of the time you're actually going to kill someone at a very inopportune time, especially the second proc. So there's literally a significant percentage, like significant chance every time that when you get the kill, it's actually going to reset the rage bar when you almost have it already full. And Nevsky's just way more consistent, right? So that's why I'm for Nevsky Joan and not Hua Joan. But I mean, you know how it is. You try to reason and explain the reasoning why, and people just like hear what they want to hear. So yeah, that's my personal opinion.
I know.
And then
I know that.
But anyway, but Nevsky, like Hua Nevsky, because now you're focusing everything onto a single target, you're going to be able to kill people a lot more consistently, right? And then when you do that, Hua will be at his best. And I actually think that's a very, very, very good March that people seem to be undervaluing, right? It doesn't have as much DPS because it doesn't have the AoE. But when you use Hua, you're not really using it for the AoE, because Nevsky would do a better job of that, in my opinion. You're using Hua because you want to kill as much as possible. And like stacking 2 nukes single target, I think actually has some merit there. But that's a little bit off topic.
It's super powerful mark, to be honest.
Okay, so
it's definitely the one I'm most worried about. And Nevsky Joan is also really, really strong.
Yeah,
definitely up there, but just a little bit behind Hua Nevsky, in my opinion.
And it's not the best dueling March, Nevsky Joan, for some reason. And it's actually kind of weird for me that it isn't, because it just seems like it should be. But it's for some reason, a lot of marches that seem to be not as good seem to beat it 1-on-1. I don't know why.
It seems to be against Siege though. Like the Nevsky Joan against Siege seems to be better than
against other field marches. Really?
Well. Yeah, but I don't know why.
Okay.
Because end of the day, Siege is countered by everything, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but that's true. I don't know.
But like the infantry marches just seem so squishy for me.
Somehow, Siege seemed to counter infantry, which is probably the best place it's ever been, which is actually kind of funny.
It might be a little secret that they've not told us about.
Yeah, there's a damage boost to infantry they're not talking about. Okay, so this one might be irrelevant then, because I was gonna say, like, if I was gonna give a siege march, so let's say like Margaret Cordoba, can you make like almost like a field comparison, a field equivalent, or something that's similar in what they're doing? But I don't know if that actually you can even do that. Who would you, or what march would you compare Margaret Cordoba to that people are more familiar with?
I do my best. I mean, I guess a Margaret Cordoba could be like a Gorgo Luce, really, in a way.
Okay.
Because obviously we got a bit of AoE. A couple of marches with the Cordoba, like Luce. I mean. But mostly comparing on terms of like normal damage and his smite damage.
Right. Okay, I see that.
Yeah, so that's the way I'd go with that one, because they sort of work off each other with boosting normal damage.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. What about Barber Gajamada?
So Barber Gajamada is possibly a bit like Hua Nevsky, maybe. It's just single target, but I suppose Garge is a little bit like Sargon,
right?
So but obviously there's no AoE; it's just pure power.
Could you imagine with Sargon, you could just stay connected for his whole active skill? That's what Gajamada is, right? Yeah.
Gajamada is like a Sargon.
Yeah.
At range,
right.
He'll just keep being connected, basically.
Right, but all 5 seconds it's actually hitting.
Yeah.
Which is why when I first messaged you, I'm like, I think I feel like on paper, right, looking at the stats, I actually would have preferred Cordoba, Gajamada as a pair.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like maybe Gajimata primary, you know, but I obviously have done no testing. You're way more familiar with it. And you're the one that talked me into Margaret instead. But on paper, at first glance and just looking through it without knowing anything about Siege, I actually like Gajimata better than Margaret as a pair, or Cordova.
Yeah, it's very, very close. I mean,
Mm,
Cordoba and Gajimada work really, really well together.
mm,
Obviously, I mean they're both smite. They're both, you know, you
right,
got the normal attack damage, but and Gaj has got that extra bit of tankiness with
right.
obviously a really good heal as well.
Mm,
So they've got probably a bit more longevity in the field as well. But
right.
Margaret and Cordoba just do so much damage in
Yeah.
such a short period of time. Like I can be fighting for less, you know, a couple of minutes and probably have 100,
Oh my
200,000
god.
kills.
Getting me excited to try this out in an RKVK, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you'd be amazed what they could do when they're maxed with a full legendary set.
Yeah. I mean, you probably don't like to hear this, but kind of what sold me on Margaret too is I'm like, okay, if I just keep these commanders at 5511, it seems like Margaret, if you just max the first two skills, is better than Gajimata's first two skills. I think like Gajimata, like his
Yeah,
like on the back end of his skill and his expertise, I think it's better than Margaret's. But that's something like you
yeah,
have to invest all the way up. And I'm like, I'm not sure. You know, I think I might keep it at 5511. Maybe max Cordoba, then wait for a new engineering commander to come out. Maybe wait for Margaret to show up in the dailies or something. So that actually went into the
yeah.
decision
That would be
process
good.
for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the trouble is having Margaret at 5511 is you're really missing out on the fourth skill, which is so good with the defense
Yeah.
debuff.
Yeah.
But you know, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
if that's what you can put into them.
Yeah. Because the third
But
skill is like skill damage and stuff, which, you know, Cordoba doesn't need that.
yeah,
So,
no, it doesn't. It doesn't matter that much
okay.
anyway. I think the debuff's just so good, especially for hitting rallies and stuff as well.
Okay. But if you were going to run two pairs with a siege, you would do Margaret Cordoba and then Bobber primary with Gajimata secondary.
Yes, either that or you'd have to run Margaret Baba and Cordoba Garjamada.
Okay. Do you have
But
one you prefer more? Like the first one we
I
talked about?
Yeah, I personally prefer Margaret Cordova Baba Garja because again, I'll stick Baba Garja in front, and he's just so tanky,
Right.
and people come to attack it, and they don't die. You know, you've got Baba Garja doesn't die that easily,
Yeah.
and basically, it usually gives enough time for your allies to destroy whoever's attacking it,
Yeah.
and Margaret Cordova just pelting away, getting loads of kills.
Okay.
I mean, like I say, Margaret Cordova alone got 26 million kills this KVK,
Yeah. That's kind of
which
crazy.
is pretty mad.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
The few minutes.
Kingsland fight.
Yeah, like few minutes, you have 200,000 7s you dealt. I'm like, okay, I'm sold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think these next two we kind of talked about already. Is there anything else I didn't cover that you would like to share or talk about?
I think we pretty much covered most of it. Yeah. Misperceptions. I mean, we covered like selfishness and
Yeah, yeah.
you know, people saying you're not really helping your allies, but you are. Anything else you can think of? I mean, we did cover a bit before, obviously going on.
We did. I did have some questions that came up that I just kind of asked like out of order. You know, I feel like I'm sorry if I like kind of cut you off. I get a little excited, and if I don't, it's not so much like it's for me. It's like oh, I really want to know, and then I start just fixating on that. And if I don't ask it, then like I almost forget. I don't know. It's a bad habit. So I apologize.
No, it's fine.
But other than that, I think. So okay, so well, I'll ask you this, right? So if I run full T4, Siege,
Yeah.
5511 for both, and like a mix man, I'll have close to max tech probably when the past 7 opens or max it. How would you predict that march would do? Like as far as say like trades and like output compared to my other marches?
Well, trouble is in your kingdom, it may be different to mine.
Hmm.
I'd expect you to probably trade 2 to 1 most of the time,
Hmm.
but you're gonna have to be quite careful you don't get swarmed. Really,
It
I
instantly
mean,
gets melted. Yeah.
it's gonna get melted fairly fast at 5-5-1-1.
Yeah.
But if you're on the upper end of against your enemies, then
Right.
you should be fine anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. 2 to 1. That's the expectation for T4 5511 siege.
Yeah, I'm counting on you. Yeah.
Okay. What about actually? This is a thanks. What this is just like. What about your YouTube channel? Like, what are you looking to do with it? You have any like plans? Is it just kind of having fun, getting the word out there?
Literally just spreading the word
Yeah.
and trying to help low spenders and free to play,
Yeah.
giving them another option to be able to basically meet KVK targets. Like, it's tough.
Yeah.
You know, I've struggled in the past. Like, I've not got amazing kills.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like, people need to know that there is another option. You don't need to necessarily spend on the game to be successful.
Okay.
And to get 30 million kills in a KVK, it's now possible.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you get free to plays like 12-inch, and like he's great
Yeah.
because he does so much. Like, it's full on.
Yeah.
He's literally chaining barbs constantly, and,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's like a full-time job.
He actually dropped a siege video. I don't know if you saw. It was maybe like 30 minutes before we got on this call.
Really?
Yeah, he actually dropped the siege video.
Oh,
You need to go check it out. It's I think you'll actually like it. Here, it's wait, let me tell you the title. Talking about 12-inch on stream here.
yeah.
So the
And I've still
title,
got other creators. Yeah.
yeah, the title is let's see. Oh God. Oh my God.
I'm sure I'll find it anyway.
I put in 12-inch and things showed up on my YouTube that I wasn't like, oh, it's the thumbnail says, was I wrong? And the title is, was I too hard on Siege? And then revisiting Siege, exclamation mark. Dropped 4 hours ago. I can check that out after.
Maybe he's been watching some videos.
Hey, even changing minds, winning hearts, changing minds.
He must have stopped barb chaining for about 5 minutes and actually looked at my channel.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are interested, so I'm excited to run it. And what I'm excited to be able to show is how you can actually run field and siege, right? I don't think anyone's actively doing that right now. At least they're not making content about it. And
no. Unfortunately, my field aren't strong enough to be able to really show it properly.
Yeah, and we talked about this off stream, right? Like I'm not a siege lover or a siege hater. If anything, I think it is broken like strong. I think it is way too strong, but it just hasn't been exposed yet for how strong it is by a lot of the top end players. I'm not a top end player. Hopefully one day, but I think I do have enough marches to actually show that you can run field and siege, and then if you can make it viable in a lower ranked Imperial Kingdom like 2268, and then more people are getting onto it, I think it will actually be this thing where you'll see a floodgate open. A lot of people will run it. I think they'll actually have to tune siege, just because the way it is right now. It's very likely that everyone's just running siege, and this game completely changes. I don't think the developers actually want a game where siege is the meta, where everyone just has siege towers everywhere and you can't field march anywhere, right? Maybe that's what they're going for, and it forces you to play the game differently. But I think once how good there's still a place, right? But when it could start out dueling, like some of the best dueling marches one-on-one, close range. I think you can even tank with it, with say like Barbara Gajamada, and then have Margaret Cordoba behind it, right? And it can literally tank for itself with one of the marches, and then you can't bypass it. You have to hit it. There's some crazy stuff you could do with it. Honestly, the first kingdom that probably commits and goes in will have really, really shocking results on KVK. They'll beat someone way stronger than they are in power and KP. If they go that route. That's my opinion.
Definitely.
Maybe it's your kingdom.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just imagining some of these
Yeah.
bigger kingdoms as well. Like a lot of the main players have
Yeah.
high powered farms.
Yeah.
You know, they're generally used for like flag filling and stuff.
Yeah.
But imagine if all those farms made 2 siege marches.
Oh God.
You like your Baba Gauge Armada and your Margaret Cordoba. They stuck the Baba Gauge Armada towards the front, like you say, is like basically a brick wall.
Yeah.
And you've got your high damage of Margaret Cordoba in the background. Just
that would
you just
that would be so annoying. But then like the meta becomes whoever has some more farms that has siege marches, right? Because that's going to have such a big leg up on kingdoms that don't have that. You know?
Yeah,
I do.
I mean, or, like imagine all those towers.
Yeah.
Hitting a rally coming towards a flag.
Yeah, I do think. I do think if that's the case, they will.
Going to melt.
I do think they're going to have to retune it. And I think we talked about this off stream too. Like, I don't think your goal is for this game to just turn into everyone using a bunch of Cs and there's like no field marches, right? There's some competitive parity where strategies involved. You could use it strategically, but it's like balanced in a way where you kind of have this like rock paper scissors. You can't like it's not just over relying on one thing. And I think we talked about that. Like that's how I feel, and like you're like that's how like you're a siege main, but that's how you feel too. So I don't know. I think as more people use siege, I think they have to retune it. Like unless there's something I'm missing, but it's like for me personally, like in my heart of hearts, like I know I can honestly say if you could just restart over, right? Kind of like the Grand Prix where you could just pick any commander, any equipment, everything's on an equal playing field. You had to do like the best 4 marches. I think 2 of the 4 would actually have to be siege. Like that's my personal opinion. Just like 2 siege, and then it's probably Herman Ziel and then Scipio Luce or something. Like 4 marches. I actually that might be the 4 I picked to bring onto the field. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I
think it could be amazing what a massive group of siege towers could do. I mean, it could be completely devastating.
It would definitely be devastating. Just thinking about that actually makes me a little scared.
It's crazy what could happen. I mean, imagine like a ball of siege towers on the corner of an altar. Yeah, like it's just gonna be so destructive.
Yeah, because if we have a ball, right, and we're marching towards that to take it down, and let's just say the front line is like Ajamata, by the time we get there, the front half of the troop is already like half dead, right? And then that march can tank, like Gajamata can tank, but also they're just beating like the best marches one-on-one in a duel. How do you even counter that? Like you literally can't get close. You need way more numbers.
As soon as that first field march touches a troop on the front line, all those towers are going to be hitting it. Yeah, and it's gonna be destroyed.
Like you don't. It's like you can't even will tank it. Like you're that. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't think that'll have fun. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. That's actually a little scary.
It's gonna be different. I said to you before, it's gonna be a different game. It's gonna be much more strategic.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to find ways of taking down the towers.
Yeah, I need to actually check out your video on how to take down towers because that might become increasingly more important.
Yeah, I mean, I was finding that in the last altar battle. I know how much damage my tower can do.
Yeah.
I had to take out their towers, or at least try.
Yeah.
Even if you get them to a quarter of the health, like they're not going to be doing as much damage as they were at full health.
Yeah. That's true. It's all right. That's actually a little scary thinking about it. Okay. From my end, that's all the questions I have. Do you have anything else?
No. Well, yeah. The last thing, obviously, we're talking about 12-inch and how much work you have to put in as free to play.
Yeah.
Like, the trouble is with people like me, you've got 3 kids, you've got a busy job, you're out most of the time. You don't have the time to be doing all that sort of stuff. You want to chill a little bit in the evenings. I like to play a bit more casually, and I think Siege gives me this opportunity to play a little bit more casually. Do you know? Where I'm coming from?
You can still be a little more casual, but contribute in a meaningful way, and not just feel like you're getting stomped because you're not grinding like your life and your life savings away to try to be
Yeah, like
competitive in this game. Yeah,
like I'm managing to compete in
yeah,
KVKs,
yeah,
and I'm not having to play all the time.
yeah. I get it.
I could literally leave my march in the altar, get War Frenzy, turn my phone off for 15 minutes, and go back on.
Yeah,
Do you
no,
know?
I get it. Yeah, yeah, I get
If
it.
you needed to,
Yeah,
I can leave my march, do the dishes,
yeah,
dry my hands, and then go back onto my phone
yeah,
again.
yeah,
Believe me, I do that.
yeah,
I can leave my march, go put the kids to bed.
yeah. The siege haters just rolled over in their graves. Hearing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I really appreciate you taking the time, and I know we've like interacted quite a bit in the last 3 weeks. Just because I have a lot of questions about this, and I would say like you out of anyone, you definitely probably have 90% of the credit or impact and of convincing me to invest in Siege. So thank you.
Appreciate that.
Let's see, unless it flops, but
right.
but definitely look out for some of the footage and the videos for that. I think
I think you should go back and watch all my videos personally.
Before I get that out there. Okay, yeah, we yeah, I have about 2 weeks, so I'll start doing some more research. I probably watched about 10 of them, but you have way more than 10, so I'll check it out. Is there okay, yeah, actually this would be a good place to end. So one, obviously, YouTube channel is Mr. Siege. If you haven't yet, go check out his channel, like and subscribe. But if you have, say, like a top 3 videos you would recommend, like if people are going to your page, then they can only watch 3. What are the 3 most meaningful ones?
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, unfortunately, a couple of them are actually old videos, and I actually did a 3-part, sort of, yeah, three-part trilogy, basically.
A 3-part trilogy.
Of basically a free-to-play sort of startup guide to Siege.
Okay.
So I really recommend people watch that because it's got so much information in that.
Let's actually pull this on screen here.
It's basically, you sorting out from equipment to your commanders, I think your pairings, your talent trees, where to put your skills. And we also talk about using different troops with different equipment. It's just full of basically.
So is it this
advice?
Engineering beginner guide? So there's one that says part 3, part 2, part 1. Okay, so those. Okay, we'll count that as 1, even though that's 3 videos. What about 2 more videos you would recommend? Okay, so I'll definitely watch these. I mean, you have a lot. Videos. Damn, like you. How many videos have you made? 102. Damn. And your channel. Let's see. When did you start your first one? Yeah, I've been slacking. You started 2 months ago.
Yeah.
You have like 3 times as many videos as me in half the amount of time. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, right. I try to get one out every other day. Sometimes every day I'll get a video out.
Okay, so 2 more videos. So beginner's guide.
2 more videos.
Beginner's guide right here.
Beginner's guide, fantastic. I think there was one. It's you must watch this. I think it was.
Must watch this.
Must watch this, and I think that was more of like a starter guide as well. And maybe watch the one where I do the most sacrilegious thing and dismantle my legendary infantry gear. Okay. I mean that's got to be one to watch, surely. Okay. I mean I think even some of those were crit pieces. Okay,
so let's see, how to organize armaments. There's a lot. Okay, must watch this.
I tell you what is a real good one. The arms training one. So arms training is so broken with Siege.
Oh really?
Absolutely broken. So I can compete with the top players in my kingdom
because you can just shoot at it from far away.
Yeah, like it's dead before it even gets to you. So it's not even using its skills on you.
Okay. How do I? Let's see. I can't. Where's the arms training one? Siege.
It does say like arms training on it. It's it should be fairly easy to find.
Mr. Siege arms training.
Yeah.
Game-changing arms training. Okay, so this is one.
This is that.
Hey, look, I
that's
showed up
definitely
above
an
Chisgold's video, and then
eye-opener.
must watch this.
Yeah.
Unbelievable
Well,
engineering meta results. Extraordinary.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not sure.
Extraordinary. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, extraordinary. Yeah, that.
Okay.
That's more of my KVK results.
Okay,
That's about
just
my
like
KVK
a
results.
highlight. Okay. Okay. Well, if anything, the beginner's guide, for sure. Those 3 videos, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's the best place to start.
Okay.
And then I think once you watch that and you realise that how easy and cheap it is to start. I mean, you can even use blue gathering equipment to start off, and you'll be just fine.
Okay. All right, man. Other than that, thank you for coming on. Definitely stay in touch, and I will definitely be messaging you with questions on what to do with my marches.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be watching your videos and checking up on you too.
All right, man. Really appreciate it.
Obviously. Thanks for having me.
All right, I'm gonna stop
I've
recording.
enjoyed it.
All right. Yeah, thanks a lot.